Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Pink Table Talk. How are you all doing today? It's so good to see you guys. We are back with more episodes, more seasons right here on Hope TV, and I'm your host, Laria Reed. So grateful to have you all with us today because we've got a great topic, a serious topic that a lot of us don't talk about because it's kind of a touchy subject, but at the same time, women go through this, and I believe that we're going to be a blessing to someone. So today we're talking about coping with infant loss, coping with infant loss. And these two young ladies here, they are gorgeous and beautiful. And I'm so glad and grateful that they could be on with us today to give us good, candid conversation. Their transparency is amazing, and I believe that we can all benefit from it. If you we've all experienced friends of someone, or you may have gone through it. So go ahead on, share this, like this, let someone know that we're on today with this valuable information. Okay. So look, I don't want to introduce too much of them because I want them to talk about themselves a little bit, but right here with the curls going flowing from top to bottom, Miss Tiffany, I was about to say Tip because I've known her pretty much all my life. Miss Tiffany Weldon Madison. How you doing, Miss Tim? So glad to have you
I am
today.
doing well. So excited to be here.
I'm so glad you're on today. And right here with this look, I love her hair color because y'all know I love me some color. She's over here with these red lips popping. Miss Lakeisha Headley. Hello, Miss Lady. How you doing today?
Hey, hey, everybody. Hey, excited
So
to be
glad that the
here.
two. Yeah, I'm glad that you're here too. But I am so glad that the two of you guys are here because you all have such interesting stories. And I know we all see the smiles and how you all just carry on from day to day. And you just would have never known that you've gone through some of the things that you've gone through. So I'll just start with Lakeisha. I just want you to just kind of give us your story, your journey, so to speak, of um, how you even got to this place. I know nobody just wakes up and thinks, this will happen to me, but it did.
Mhm.
So what is your journey? Let's just start there.
Absolutely. No one ever wakes up and says, I'm going to be part of the Angel Mom Club on today at this particular time. And so for me, my journey started in 2002. I was a single mother and I was in my third trimester. I'm sitting here trying to remember. I was in my third trimester and my daughter was born stillborn. And that started
Mm,
my particular journey. And during that particular journey, I was definitely part of the taboo crew. I did not talk about it for fear of being making things uncomfortable for other people. When you lose a child,
mm,
how do you find somebody that you trust to just be able to provide that raw feelings over the loss that you suffered? Also, after I had my pregnancy, my daughter passed away. I made the vow, like, Lord, I'm not going to have any more kids because
mm.
it was just that painful. And then, love happened. I met my husband, Richard, in 2014. We were pregnant. We were happy. We were excited. And I was like, okay, this is the one. It's going to happen. Unfortunately, my son, Jackson, he passed away from a
Mm,
birth defect. And at that time, I was completely, utterly destroyed. I felt like I was not worthy to even be a mother because who does that? Who has two children who die and don't have the opportunity to live their life? What exactly did I
mm,
do wrong? And with those experiences that I had, I decided that, it's so taboo, but somebody has to be a voice for someone. And so during that
mhm,
time, I decided to create my company, Adula Birthing and Lactation Services. And we support mothers who have given birth at any part of their pregnancy. It doesn't matter if you're 7 weeks, 30 weeks, if it's a
mm.
living birth, or if it's your child is passing. So that was part of my process of healing.
Wow, wow. And I would have never even guessed that. Just seeing you at church and you're always so friendly and hey, how are you doing? And modest and calm and quiet and laid back. And so for me to even know that, I was just like, what? I didn't know that because
Yeah.
we just keep going through life and you've gone on your journey of healing. So, I'm not paying any attention to it. And how many women do we do that to on a regular basis without finding out? you know.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
absolutely. Most women, they have their face at home because you didn't see me when I was at home in the middle of the night crying in the shower because I didn't want my husband to hear me. You didn't
Mm,
see me when I was looking a mess and I'm like, Lord, I know you're real, but I don't feel no light. I don't see no light. I can't feel you
mm,
where you at. So you're crying, depression, all those different things. But then when I go outside, even talking to my mom, my face is like, whoop, let me put this face on right now. I don't know if you've seen the
mhm.
commercial for depression where they have the little stick with the different faces. When you lose a
Yeah.
child, you have two faces. You have the face that's the real you with those emotions, those fears, all the different things. And then you have another face that's for other people just to make them comfortable.
Wow.
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 That's amazing. That's amazing. And I don't want to get too far because I'm getting ready to start asking you questions. But let me hear Miss Tiffany's story. Let me hear your story of everything that you've gone through. And we're talking, if you're just tuning in, we're talking about coping with infant loss and how to move through that and the journey of that and everything about it. So Tiffany, can you tell us your story?
Yeah, so I am also a mom of not one but two angel babies. My journey started in 2013. 2013. Um, well, I was diagnosed some time ago with polycystic ovarian syndrome. So I did not know if I could even conceive, right? Just listening to the things that could happen, infertility, heart disease, diabetes. I was like, wow, well, maybe I need to live my life like a diabetic so I won't be one. Uh-huh. So in
Mm,
that process of losing weight and all this kind of stuff, they say it happens, when you lose weight, the time you become more fertile, right? And didn't even know I was pregnant, but I was pregnant with my daughter. Her name was Brielle. Brielle was actually born at 27 weeks because I developed something called HELP syndrome. HELP
mm,
syndrome stands for hemolysis, elevated liver enzymes, and low blood platelets. Right. What is that? I had never heard of this
mm,
before. You've heard of a woman ever going into preeclampsia where blood pressure is high, things like that? Well, this one is like preeclampsia. However, it's more fatal for the mom and the baby. So your organs are starting to shut down. There
mm,
is no cure. The
mm,
doctors don't know why this happens. They don't even know if it will happen again. The only thing as far as the process of helping along is the mom, we're put on magnesium sulfate. We're giving steroid shots to make sure that the baby lungs are developing. So I'm at 27 weeks. All this is happening so fast. I went to a regular doctor's appointment. I didn't know that I felt bad. All I know was
mm.
after Brielle was born, I felt better. This was my first pregnancy, so I didn't know, right? Um, so I was went to one hospital. I got transferred to another. That was like 11 o'clock. The doctor was like, first I thought I was going on bed rest. But the doctor, they're taking blood the whole time. And next thing I know, the doctor come in and says, hey, the ambulance is on its way. You're having the baby today. 27 weeks?
Mm.
I've never heard of it. And she just said, Miss Madison, you don't know how sick you really are. And to tell you the truth, I didn't. This is something that, you don't know about. I didn't research anything. I'm in the hospital laughing, talking to my family like everything is okay, but I'm going to go, with whatever the doctor says. So I get transported. That was like 11 o'clock, 3 o'clock. I had an emergency C-section. Brielle was here. Uh, Brielle lived in the neonatal unit for 20 days. Ended up passing because of a blood infection called sepsis. Um,
Mhm.
but just in that time, it was an amazing story. I had a chance to bond with her. It was hard because, when you have a baby, you're expecting to be able to hold them, touch them. I had to wait, and she was in the incubator, and I could only touch at times. And We spent time at the Ronald McDonald House so we could be close to the baby, right? Um, just like you say, Lakeisha, of course, there's feelings that you have, grief and all these kind of stuff. The hospital was they were amazing to me. They had a transitions counselor there, and he came to us. He prayed with us. He always talked and was always communicating with us. We ended up being able to get counseling for a year, being able to go to grief camp. With that, I still felt guilty about
Yeah.
everything that happened with Brielle, even though doctors had no answers. In my mind, it had to be something. Was it my weight? Was I putting things in my body subconsciously that I didn't know? I didn't know, right? So I went into this mode of I'm going to take care and I'm going to fix my body. I went alkaline vegan, exercise, lost 40 pounds, pregnant again, right? I have an amazing son. His name is Bryant Madison Jr. He's 4 years old now. Um, Crazily thinking that, wow, okay, you have a baby, perfect pregnancy, everything is okay. In actuality, Bryce being born, the way that I took myself and, oh, you got to lose weight, you got to do this, and it was a perfect pregnancy, that made me feel more guilty about Brielle passing, right? Uh, Crazy. Bryant, we call him Bryce. Bryce was 9 months old, and I found out I was pregnant again, right? Wasn't quite ready because I still have a 9 month old, right? I'm tired, new mom working. Um, so it was kind of weird in the beginning. That first week, I wasn't sure, like, am I pregnant? Oh, I just had a baby. What's going on? But after that week, I got my life together. I was like, hey, this is a baby. Um, I fell in love with him. Braylon, that's my second baby's name. Braylon was actually developing inside with a heart defect. The right side of his heart was not developing properly. They have some big scientific names. I've learned all of them, but I won't go into that. I ended up actually getting HELLP syndrome again. Braylon was 30 weeks. It was a whole nother transporting from one hospital. This time I had to go to Atlanta to be near the Children's Hospital for his heart. Braylon lived for 12 days. And it was scary because I've seen this before, right? Every day I was so scared. I've seen this. I've been in this space. I've been in this NICU, but every day was a great report for him, right? But one day, you get that phone call from the hospital. Braylon's health is failing. We need you to come to the hospital. I've heard this before, right? He ended up passing after 12 days. It wasn't anything to do with his heart. At the time, I didn't want to go into it with people. And I told him, oh, his heart just stopped, right? But he really ended up passing from something called necrotizing enterocolitis. And some people will cut it short for NEC. Basically, what happens is the gut dies, right? And they just, it goes throughout the body and they pass. So that's my journey. And it wasn't actually until Braylon was born, I had the same thing with him, but I felt like I was healthier, right? I wasn't able to forgive myself until he came because I was like, wow, well, maybe this really wasn't my fault. Of course, you go through the whole stage. I was listening to you, Lakeisha. It was all the stories you tell. Because my thing is, I wanted to be strong. God had taken care of me. I'm a Christian. I'm not going to let this break me. But holding those things in, you really are almost like you're dying inside. Of course, for people, you are the strong one. But of course, like you said, no one saw me laying in the bed for 3 days. No one saw me crying on the floor thinking about how sick my babies were, right? And those things that you don't show people, you keep that at home and you keep that inside, right? So that's my experience with my two, angel babies, Braylon
Yeah.
and Brielle.
Yeah. And
Wow.
Tiffany,
Wow.
I just wanted to commend you for your strength. And I know it's like we don't want to be strong. That's the last thing that we want
Right.
to do is be strong. We want to be able to show that weakness. And I'm glad that you were able to give yourself some grace, you know,
Yes.
in your experience because that is part of the healing process. And one of the things that you mentioned that I really appreciate is the fact that when you get pregnant again, you also have all of those worries in your mind. You really can't enjoy that pregnancy because you're sitting here waiting. Well,
Mm,
what if this happens again? What
right.
if happen? What if I don't get to the hospital in time? What if I develop HELP syndrome again? What is the process? What's going to happen again? And then when we are like, oh, I have a healthy pregnancy, everything is going to be good. I did what I was supposed to. But in reality, even though we did what we were supposed to, we did what we knew the first time around.
Right.
And so it's
Right.
still not our fault. So great job. I love
Yeah,
how
both
you
of
were able to
you.
praise
Look, while
God
she's
for that.
coming in, I want to commend both of you because, like I said, I don't know what you all did to get to where you are now. And that's kind of something that I want to talk about really quickly. And
I mean, y'all didn't know the answer to this, but John P. Key is your name, but what does the P stand for?
The P actually stands for Prince. Dr. Scott and Brian Scott, years ago when I signed my first deal, they ran with it and started the Prince of Gospel, but that's where it came from. Lizzie and John named me John Prince Key.
Part-time job, full-time hustle, all-time Shiro to all of us. You nurture, we listen. You teach, we thrive. You lift our spirits, but we've got to lay down the truth. It's time for you, our Shiro, to stretch for the stars. A free online chat can give you the personalized tips you need to start boosting your retirement savings today. Start saving more for retirement so you can feel prepared and live your life to the fullest. Visit aceyourretirement.org.
So what is some major hesitancies around this vaccine?
Because I ask younger people all the time, why haven't you gotten the shot? A lot of people say, well, my mom hasn't gotten it. And so I think people are impacted by the parents and whatever reasons they have for not getting it. I don't know if you heard Nicki Minaj put out information about her cousin having his testicles swollen,
Yes.
and of course that took off, went viral.
Can we clarify that the vaccine did not cause his testicles to be enlarged?
None of that. I mean, we do have some risk associated with the vaccine, but the things that we hear out in the public aren't what they are.
I want to speak really quickly. I know you both mentioned the guilt of everything. What helped you and what tools did you use? Or was it a scripture? Was it a conversation? What was it that assisted you in? And I know we're real big advocates for counseling. What was it that helped you to, I don't want to say you never move on from someone passing, but
Right.
to be able to live and to smile again genuinely and to laugh and to be able to go through life knowing that your baby is okay. What was it, or what was that thing, or some tools that you have that you use for those things? And I'll start with whoever wants to go first. Whoever's got it in their mind.
Well, for me, because of this process, I am an advocate for counseling, therapy, family, go get your healing. And a lot of times, in the African American community,
Mhm.
it's becoming more popular, but there was a time when you just went to church, you prayed about it, you
Right.
didn't, talk about it too much. But I was like, this has never happened to me before. I'm going to try something new, right? Like I said, the transitions counselor, they gave us grief counseling for up to a year. And they also offered us a retreat at a grief camp. And we got to go 2 years after each death. And it was amazing. Like, they gave me tools. Like, things happen to you in life, right? That we don't necessarily have the tools to navigate through. And one of those things is grief. Grief is the journey of living life after you suffered a loss. What does life look like after you've lost your loved one? How do you keep going, right? That's the whole grief journey. One thing that counseling gave me was vocabulary. A lot of times we used to say, oh, she passed away. Oh, let's talk about what it is. Because, using words passed away, sometimes we say it because it eases the sting of death. I had to go back and tell my children. I had to go pat my students. I had to go tell my family, church members, my baby died, right? Vocabulary, being able to filter through my emotions. I didn't want to be angry. I didn't want to be angry at God, but inside I was angry. I was angry. My baby was gone. My body is crazy. Hormones still raining. There's no baby. I'm still producing milk. There's no baby. I'm still healing from C-section scars, and there is no baby, right? But I was angry, and it was okay to be angry. I didn't know it was okay to be angry because I didn't want, you watch movies, people get mad at God for somebody that I didn't want to be mad at God because he saved my life, because all those times I could have died, right? And he kept me, right? The guilt was horrible. It always stayed with me. I didn't get free until, even though people say it wasn't your fault, in my head, you don't know that. We don't know. But the doctors give you no answer. What are you supposed to do? I call Braylon my king of hearts. He healed my heart. He made me feel the guilt was gone after him, right? And it wasn't until going to therapy, talking, realizing what kind of person I am now. There was a time where I didn't want to be alone. I didn't want to be alone with my thoughts. I didn't want to be alone with those sad days. So I would do everything. I would stay at work as long as I could, not go home as long as I could, hate it. When people went back to work and you're still on maternity leave and there's no baby, right? I just found projects and people to consume my time. And even then, you're vulnerable when you're grieving. So sometimes people come into your life and you consume yourself with projects. And now you're overwhelmed and grieving. So I had a grief counseling, grief therapy, grief camp was amazing for me.
Wow. Thank you for that. Thank you, Tiffany. And what about you, Lakeisha? What tools?
For me, I didn't have any tools whatsoever. My experience at the hospital was, especially with my daughter Shemaya, it was not great at all. The nurse was like, there's no way that you're ready to have your baby, because I'm like, I have to push. I am ready to push. And she's like, honey, you just got here. There's no way you're not ready. So not only was I dealing with the trauma of losing a child, I was dealing with the traumatic birth experience and feeling as though I was less than nothing. One, because I'm a young, single African-American woman. The baby's father is not in the picture. And now I've been told that my child didn't have a heartbeat and labor just started. And the nurse is like, it's not time yet. And then it was time. It's just like, oh, yep, you're ready. And even the doctor, after he had came in, he had no words. Like, he was grieved himself, but he had no words to console me. He did not know what to say. And it's really important that I'll say this: if you are a woman who is trying again after a loss, it's important that you find a provider that you're really comfortable with, and you're able to share your true feelings about your past situations and where you're at right now. And also, as Tiffany said, coupled with therapy is really going to be key in getting you through your next pregnancy. Um, but I'll go back to your question. And another thing is, without having those tools, I had no idea what I was supposed to do. I didn't know I was supposed to call the funeral home. I didn't know I was supposed to make arrangements for my child because I
Wow.
didn't know of any options. Because of that, my child is somewhere that I'm not knowledgeable of. I just know that she's in a cemetery somewhere in the city and state,
Mhm.
because I wasn't aware of the options. And so the year after that, I didn't have therapy. There wasn't any grief counselors available. Chaplain didn't come talk to me. I couldn't talk to my family, because they were just like, life goes on. You got to get over it. At least you can have another kid. And let me tell you, those words are not helpful
Girl,
at all to someone who's grieving. You would never say that to someone who just lost their
No.
sister, or someone who just lost their mom, or someone who lost their pet. You would not say,
Yeah.
well, at least another boomer. You're not saying that. But when it comes to infant and child loss, the things that we
Mm.
say to people are just completely disgusting.
girl, honey, the
Um,
name of this segment is the dumb things people say to you when
yes,
you're.
yes, absolutely. Like, thank God that I'm saved, because I could have definitely been doing some violence, okay, on how people were treating
Yes.
and the things that they were saying that were so inconsiderate. And the fact of the matter is, when it comes to miscarriages, 1 of 4 women have suffered a miscarriage. So it's like,
Right.
if we're in a room of 10 women, 2 of those women have had a miscarriage, one has suffered stillborn, and another one has lost a child in the first year. So the fact that we're so insensitive to the needs of those who
Yes.
are grieving is just absolutely crazy. Um, and it took, even in 2014, I was still concerned, still grieving the loss of my daughter. I mean, this is years, it's like 12 years down the line. 2017, I got pregnant with my son, Rich III. And during that pregnancy, I realized that I had a problem. Like, I was having suicidal thoughts because I was saying to myself, Lord, I don't even know what to do as a mom. Being a mother, all I know is death. So I know what to do now if my child dies, but I don't even know what
Mhm.
to do with a living child.
Oh,
And there,
wow.
I needed that support on, let's talk through your feelings. I needed that therapy. But again, taboo, African American community. I didn't even bring it up with my husband. But after Richie was born, that's when I was like, okay, I need to get some help. I
Mm.
really need to get some help. So therapy and Jesus are the two top things of what you need to do. They say speaking the word of the Lord is really important, and I did have scriptures that actually helped me through my process, because, like in Jeremiah 30:17, it talks about restoring health, healing the wounds, because they called you an outcast. I had a miscarriage. My child was born still, and I'm an outcast in the community. Lord, heal my cry, right? And then,
Mm.
Psalm 6:6 through 9, I'm groaning. My eyes are swollen from crying. They're red. My nose, I can't breathe because I'm so stuffy. And I have to tell iniquity, depart from me, because God has heard my cry. He is with me. And I have to constantly speak over myself to let the devil know, look, devil, look here, player, this is not your playground. This is
That's
the
right.
Lord's
Mm,
house, regardless
yes.
of what I'm going through. And so, constantly speaking the word of God, going to therapy is what I depended on. And I'll be honest, I couldn't depend on the church. I
Mm.
couldn't depend on my pastor. I couldn't depend on the ministers. It was a time to where it was really make or break. Are you a true believer in the Lord and what he can do? What is your relationship? And so I thank the Lord, looking back now, that in those times I was able to develop a true relationship with him. and all of his glory to get me through the loss of my children.
Okay, I keep on saying self-reflection, but it's true. This is what I really think.
How do you recognize what you can do based off of what you want to do?
Come on, being honest with yourself. How can I fit this into my schedule? I think it's really being honest with yourself. And if you're in a hierarchy kind of organization, being honest with the people that manage you and are over you.
My Shiro doesn't always wear a cape, but she always has time for a hug, a smile, for going the extra mile. My Shiro stretches every dollar, puts in long hours, puts others first. But now it's your time, Mom. When you're ready to retire, we want you to be able to enjoy it. It's time to start saving now. A free 3-minute online chat can give you the personalized tips you need to start boosting your retirement savings today. Visit aceyourretirement.org/Shiro.
You know, we're going to talk about something that you hear more and more about today, and that's dementia.
Alzheimer's disease and dementia drastically impacts the Black community. We're twice more likely to be diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease or a form of dementia in comparison to our white counterparts. And so again, this is why it's so important for us to take a minute and to learn about this, to see what's going on, and then understand how we can reduce our risk.
Like you hit it, of course, like you hit the nail on the head. We travel past the insensitive things that people say, right? Grief counseling helped me to understand it. Sometimes people say to you what makes them feel better about your situation. Oh, you're young, you can have some more. And a lot of times those were like older men in the church, right? They didn't know what to say to a young mom who's just lost their baby. So even though on my inside it made my eye twitch a little bit, but I was like, why would somebody say that? He really doesn't know what to say to me, right? My first Mother's Day, right?
Oh Lord.
You'll be a mom one day. I'm a mama right now. You hit the nail on the head. We talk. You know how to bury a baby, right? We had a funeral, and I was so nervous about the first funeral, right? And because our family had been through this before. One of my cousins' baby had died some time before, and I saw what it did to her, right? And I was like, I'm thinking, I can't do this to my family again, right?
Yeah.
And I went to my mom. Your mom is supposed to be the one to give you the information, the wisdom. I was like, Mom, I'm nervous about tomorrow, right? My mama said to me, I don't know what you're going through. Just make sure you eat. That's all you got. That's all you got. Now, I know where my mom was coming from. You don't want to be lightheaded. You want to pass out. But that's all my mama had for me. She didn't know how I felt. People didn't know what it felt like to get HELLP syndrome. We've never heard of this thing before, right? Man. And then just being in that space. We were able to eulogize both of our children. I spoke about my children because we spent time with them in the NICU. They were amazing. And I thank God for that. I had to really be optimistic. I'm an optimistic type of person. I always want to see the good. Maybe it's the naiveness, but I spent time with my children. They made me laugh. it's crazy. Braylon was the one who I got to hold first. All my babies, I had to wait. And I remember just nutting up after Bryce was born, and he had to be on oxygen in the, like a lower level NICU. And I still had to wait on him. And I'm sitting by the bed, and my sister comes in. She's like, "What's wrong?" "I'm sick of waiting on my babies." I nutted up on her. I was tired of waiting on them. And he was the one I got to hold first, right? You talked about I don't know. It was hard, but God showed me at times in the moments the purpose for being in those situations, because I asked God, I need you to show me the purpose of this, right? And there were times when I was in my bed on the floor, and my cousin told me, the one who lost her baby, God would be an immediate comfort for you, right? And I had to tell him one day, I was thinking about how sick they were, how sick she was. I was on the floor. I was like, "God, I need you to comfort me immediately on this." People like, "You said that?" Yeah, me and God talked. I needed to know. I needed to comfort today. Right?
Today. Yes. Yeah.
Today. And it was crazy. Like, I fell asleep, woke up, comfort, ESPN. I don't even watch sports like that, but it was on TV, right? I watched this show. It was a baseball player. The baby was born just like Brielle, was in the NICU just like Brielle, had a level 4 brain bleed just like Brielle, right? He went through all these surgeries, but he lived. And God showed me that Brielle would have had cerebral palsy. And he said, he told me I gave the best times that you would have had with her, because life would have been hard. And Jeremiah 29:11, he has a plan for my life. And life would have been hard, right? And I saw, that baby, he grew up, he's 24. His brain was good, but his body wasn't functioning. He had to be fed, he had to be clothed. I would have done it because that's my child, right? But God said, I gave you the best moments, and now she has to come with me. And Braylon too. Nobody talks about the bills. Her bills was thousands of dollars in the NICU, right? Braylon, my ultrasound just to go to the heart doctor was $1,000. We haven't even gotten to the birth and the life in the NICU, right? Thank God for the programs, but I know life would have been hard. 2 special needs children. And who's to say Braylon, he had to have a surgery? And I prayed about this because I knew Brielle had a surgery. I was scared for her. I didn't want my other baby to have a surgery. And the day he was big enough to go over to get ready for his first surgery for his heart, he died. I thank God for me not being there in the moment, because I don't know. I was supposed to be there. I was supposed to be there changing him, feeding him, and holding him. I thank God because I wasn't there. I don't know what that would have done to me,
Wow. That's powerful and amazing. And God is just not a God to tell us where to go get $10 or where to get a job from. He's the God that's there to comfort us and be there for us in our times that we never saw coming. And I'm sure for the two of you all to go from the bliss and the excitement of we're having a baby to having to go through all of this, I know that God had to be with you, because some women don't make it through the way that you all have. And that's why we really wanted to do something about this, because it's something that happens to us, but we don't talk about it. And we don't want our women to ever feel that they're alone. I know Lakeisha just said about I think it's 1 out of 4 women, or 2 out of the 10. If you're in a room, if it's 10 women, 2 of them have either miscarried or had a stillbirth or something along those lines, or lost a child. So we have to be very sensitive to those things and be what's the word for it? Sensitive to them and their process and their journey. I know you all were talking about the different crazy things that people say. Go look up some things online of what to say. And your presence means more than anything. Just being there. You don't have to say nothing. You don't have to come in talking. And I think that's what we do a lot is speak.
I also learned as a person being in grief, you have a right to tell people what it is you need from them. So you don't feel worse than when you came, right?
Right.
I hate to do this. Mama, forgive me. But this is just life. I love her, right? It's nothing bad. I'm sorry, Mama. But another situation. One day I'm just missing her and I'm crying. And my mom says to me, "Oh, baby, you just gotta get over it." It's like a record stop in your brain, right? And I was like, "Mom, don't ever say that to me again." I said, "I'm missing my baby. I get up every day." I said, "I'll cry for 5 minutes and it'll be okay." I realized that my mom didn't want to see her baby cry, right? But when I told her that, then she was like, "Well, just cry, just let it out, just cry, just cry." But we have a right to tell people. I didn't know I had a right, right? I didn't know I had a right to tell people. I didn't know I had a right to tell, hey, guess what? I want to talk about my baby today. I don't want to hear about your auntie's cousin, best friend, or today I just want to sit here. Can you just be here? Or I just want to cry. Oh, I don't feel like talking to nobody,
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead.
Oh, and the last part was just when you encounter someone in grief. I learned this in grief camp. You can't say anything else. I am so sorry for your loss. Let me know if there's anything you need from me. And when you say those words, let it be true because you never know what somebody's going to ask you.
That's right.
And that's true.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And it doesn't matter, if they had a miscarriage and it was 4 weeks, 5, 6, or 7, or, it was after they've given birth, still saying that I'm here for you, I'm sorry for your loss is so big. And one of the things that you mentioned, we love our mamas, like, Mama, I love you for real too, but I got to tell my story about how you was acting. After she came to pick me up from the hospital, and I was at home when my water broke, right? And so she took me back to my apartment and she made me clean up the bathroom where my water broke. And this whole time I'm like, Lord, I know I'm tripping. Like, did she really say that I needed to clean up my bathroom? Like, Ma, you should have cleaned the bathroom for me. And I'm sure, she was also grieving, right? She's also a wreck. She's not showing it, but her baby just lost a baby. And she doesn't know how to support her baby because she's never been through this. And she doesn't even know, is there anybody I can reach out to? And so I still love her. And I charge it to her head and not her heart that she made me clean up my bathroom after my water broke. So I tell everyone, if you don't know what to say, there are resources. Google is your friend now. You have the technology. Before you go over to the person, before you pick them up, Google, what can I say to my friend, to my daughter, to anybody who just lost a child, regardless of the age, regardless of the stage of the pregnancy, just to help you out.
Most definitely. And we've got 1 minute left. So I'm going to ask each one of you really quickly to give a word of encouragement to a mother who may be experiencing the loss now. She may be watching, feels alone, but feels supported now from listening to you guys. So what word of encouragement would you give to someone who's experiencing what you've experienced? And I'll start with Tiffany. 30 seconds for each one of you.
Get support. There's a lot of Facebook groups. I've just created a Facebook group. Help is on the way for women who are experiencing infant loss. It's a great thing when you have support. You can talk to people who've been through the same thing. Counseling is a must. It is okay not to be okay sometimes, but get the counseling. Go get your tools.
Yeah,
very good.
And I would say, don't fear having a real conversation with God about how you're truly feeling, because he's heard it all, and he is definitely one that's not going to leave you. Even if you can't feel him, he's still there for you. Get support, reach out to different support groups online. As Tiffany mentioned, I hope you guys wrote that down so that you'll be able to join her group and get some support. Also, as a doula at Adula, we are there to provide support. So if you're currently experiencing a miscarriage, if you know someone who's also doing that, reach out to us free of charge. We're here for you. We're here to provide support. We're here to let you know how you can take care of yourself during this time period and also after, for whatever life has to bring to you.
Wow, you guys are amazing. I have enjoyed this thoroughly. Thank you so much for your transparency, for being so honest, and for creating a space for other women to feel that someone understands them and has gone through it. But I don't think you all even realize how powerful your testimonies are just by you telling us what you've been through. And so I say, on behalf of everybody listening, thank you all so much for that. Thank you to Tiffany Madison, Lakeisha Headley. You guys are just so awesome. Thank you all so much. And we'll have to have you come back for something else, but we couldn't put it all within this time frame, but this was just so good. You all are just amazing. And we're still praying for you. And if there's anything we can do to support you, as Tiffany said, let us know. And to our moms out there. Yes, and to our moms out there, we love you guys. We're here to support, and you guys see their information below. If you need to follow them on social media or whatnot, find them on Facebook, on Instagram, and come on in. They're there to help. So we provided this resource for you, and I'm just so grateful to both of you. So this is, look, we're signing off. I want to keep talking. I want to keep going, but our time is out. But thank you both so much for being here. Thank you for tuning in to the Pink Table Talk. And we will see you the next time. All right. Love you guys. Have a great one.
What's up, House of Hope? It's the Flavor King, and welcome back to Cooking with Flavor KL. You know what time it is. It's time for me to show you how to make chili.